It's essential for women to break some rules.
Welcome to Beyond Pink. Beyond Pink is about women who are leading a new way of life in India.
I think it's important for women to reclaim themselves. घर में नींबू नहीं है, घर में ये खाना नहीं है. There is a lot more to you than that.
To create women's helmets, see that as a market takes a lot of imagination.
Women as riders might be 30 lakhs, but as pillion riders, they're 30 crores. It's a humongous market.
Where she has got MS Dhoni and Jemima Rodriguez on her side.
9 times out of 10, when you see Dhoni riding, he was wearing a Tibra helmet. And people are not willing to bet on women's cricket team as yet. We were the first equity deal for the women's cricket team, any cricketer at all.
Oh, wow. I am so proud to welcome Alpana Parida, founder of Tibra and Twara Helmets, onto this episode of Beyond Pink. I'm Sangi Mal, your host. So, I keep thinking about the fact that what kind of mother am I? I think it's important for us. It seems to be very important to know what kind of mothers we were for some reason.
I'm sure we were flawed. I think all mothers are flawed. Whenever your child is sitting at the age of 14 in front of a psychoanalyst or something, it'll all boil down to what the mother did or didn't do. Right? So we'll never win that particular battle. That's always the case.
But did you ever have this thing that, oh, I couldn't work because, I became a mom and that came in the way of my career?
No, it was a choice I made. It was a conscious choice. I didn't grow up with a mother who worked.
Right.
So I didn't see, and it's not that she didn't work. She did her master's while my brother was in doing his SSC.
Okay.
His
So in
higher
later
secondary-
years.
Later years. And then she did work, and then she used to go to one policy research center where she would go and do something. She was also part journalist. So she would do various things. But otherwise, she was home. So I didn't think it was done any other way. And then when I had kids and, we didn't have help that was good enough, then it just seemed the right thing to do to quit and be at home. It just became that way. So I think it's a choice I made because I didn't know how. At that time, I had a classmate, Falguni, who had twins.
Okay.
And she, within 3 months of the twins being born, she went back to work. I used to justify to myself saying that, I did the right thing. I'm there for my kids.
Very
So many
holier than thou.
Holier than thou.
Ah.
Oh, we all love doing this.
Ah.
So many years later, when I met her again, her kids, who've turned out so well. They have nothing to do with mother being there or not being there, as have my kids. So I don't think it makes a difference. The kids will grow up and they'll have their own thing. And I think perhaps working mothers probably prioritize the quality of time much better. Whereas non-working mothers are just harried all the time saying, my God, I need a break from you.
Yeah.
So I don't think it makes a difference at all. It's just that I didn't know better at that time.
And now in hindsight, you say, okay, everybody stumbles along. Yeah,
Absolutely.
we could have
It would
also
have been
stumbled.
fine.
It would have been fine.
And by doing that, it's not that I did everything right. Like I said, all mothers will figure that out, that they're the reason for some major life issue. So I don't think it makes a difference. So
Why should we valorize this whole idea of mothers having to be around their children?
Yeah.
We do that.
Yeah.
We do that, right?
We do that.
We give them perfect
We do
dabbas.
I think our generation has been a helicopter parenting generation in any case. So yeah, I think the only thing apart from helicopter parenting, I think maybe the only thing we did was to consciously say, let's ensure that our children don't have everything. It's
Okay.
very easy when you have more means than you had when you were growing up. It's very
Yeah.
easy to make sure your children have everything. And I think we saw people not hungry enough.
Okay.
when they got everything.
Okay.
And therefore,
People
and
as in other your peer group's
our
children?
peer group, no, so some in our peer group whose parents had homes in, very nice locations in Delhi or Mumbai,
Hmm.
and they never left home, or they continued to be in places which were cushy, and they never went out of that town, or in search
Hmm.
of anything, because they were comfortable.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I think we embrace the idea as if, and it's in hindsight, but it's okay to be uncomfortable. It's
Hmm.
okay not to have everything. It's okay not to be the coolest kid in the class who has everything. You can
Right.
be cool for other reasons,
Right.
but not because you have ABC XYZ.
Right.
So yeah, maybe we were just stingy parents, I don't know.
Let's
But
put a more charitable spin on it and say you did it consciously to
did it
introduce
for
that
fun.
element of
Yeah.
ambition and
Hunger.
discomfort.
But I think it was a conscious thought.
Yeah.
I think there were
Yeah.
kids that we saw who were, we would notice that, when they had everything, there was a lot more entitlement.
Yeah.
But I have to tell you the story.
Yeah.
So when Kanan was graduating from school and then going to study abroad in London, so we invited a whole lot of other kids who were all going to the UK to study, and along with their parents. And so there were about maybe 8-10 kids and 8-10 sets of parents. And two of the mothers, of course, there's the Janana Madana, the men on one side,
Yeah,
and the women on one side, and the women are talking about kids and
Janana
life and all.
Madana.
Yeah, totally.
Ah.
So then one of the mothers says, I have to leave early because my son, I have to make sure that I vacuum pack all his meals,
Ah.
and I number them, and I say lunch, dinner, and so on, because he's not going to do anything.
Ah.
So he has to open one vacuum pack meal per day.
Goodness gracious. Yes.
There is another mother who says, "Oh, but I found a tiffin wali over there in London who will supply a tiffin. She'll come once
Double
a week. She'll
goodness
cook
gracious.
and she'll put it away in his fridge, so
Ah.
he will have enough food and all that."
Ah.
So I turn around and look at all the girls' mothers
Yeah.
and say, "Are you doing any of this?"
Yeah.
So they say no.
Acha,
there-
so this is between
these are two
daughters
boys
and sons.
These are two boys' mothers.
Okay.
So I tell those mothers, saying that, these boys will get married, not necessarily to these girls, but girls like them.
Yeah.
And they are not going to stand for this kind of
Yeah.
stuff, right?
Yeah.
So how are you preparing them for, for
True,
marriage,
true,
for
true.
the future and so on?
True.
I don't think it went very well.
What do you care? You made your point.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. But it was, it's one of those things. I
Yeah.
think mothers still, and though you've done it differently, I'd really like to know what you did with the boys. You had two boys.
I have two boys, and I think, I don't know if I'm right in saying that being a working mother with her own opinions makes a difference.
Hmm.
So you stand for what you believe in, in spite of all the headwinds that come your way, you do not deviate from your stance. That is my way. So I'm very stubborn in some ways. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. I'm able to withstand. So I'll bend with the wind, doesn't break me. And I think the boys have seen that. Plus, I have worked in spaces that are very a humanist way of life, treating every individual with respect, with the same amount of respect.
Yeah.
And I think subtle role modeling is
very effective.
The crux of parenthood.
Yeah.
Just that. If you don't give them dabas and you don't give them ironed clothes or anything, you just be what you believe in.
Yeah.
And if you believe in I don't know if you to use the is it politically correct to say believe in the right things? That message gets transmitted at some in some manner.
Absolutely.
So I mean, so maybe those boys would have looked at you and said, "Hey, how come she's not my mom? How come she's saying something that my mom doesn't understand?" Could be at that party.
Yeah.
If they heard you at that time. So the whole thing is to have that belief. I see you as having belief. You, to me, epitomize belief. Stand by your belief. Otherwise, to say that someone in your space, so A, female, B, India, C, professional,
Hmm.
moves into A, entrepreneurship, B, India, but C, what? Motorcycle helmets.
Hmm.
I have wondered and wondered and wondered about what was that conviction that got you into this space.
Oh
Why
gosh.
did you just land on that?
So one point about what you said, one stubborn,
Yeah.
right? So it's a gender thing, right? Women are stubborn, whereas men are assertive. So it's the same thing. So, so there's a gender difference in how it's viewed. So I've never been defined by my gender or my age. I am who I am, and I don't even think about it. So I started with motorcycle helmets. Now I make scooter helmets for
Now you make
women.
scooter helmets for women. We'll come
Why?
to that.
Yeah, why those really high-end motorcycle helmets for men? Because it was an opportunity. India has the largest two-wheelers in the world, and the really serious biking category was growing gangbusters. The motorcycling culture was growing very fast, very high. So it was an opportunity. I think it was also an opportunity that was an area where competition in terms of other helmet makers were not really driven by marketing intelligence.
Hmm.
So, they were not building brands. The only way they sold was through a distributor led model. So it's a
Right.
sales
Yeah.
distributor led model. You put the product out there, throw it all in the air, something sells, something doesn't stick.
Right.
And much like the entire shoe business, you can go there and there's no assortment logic. They'll keep on bringing out model after model after model. Something will sell, something will not sell. Aaj ye chala, to then all of them will make the same thing, sort of thing. So I
I mean,
thought,
for the life of me, I don't know a single helmet brand
no,
to
there are.
this.
There are, but they are brands because they've been around.
Right.
So they are names.
Yeah.
They are names They're not brands that conjure up a certain ideology or
Yeah.
a certain, visual
The
sort of
typical way
world.
of thinking of brands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. So वो नाम है, so you know that these names exist.
Hmm.
Right. So I think there was a place, so there was this opportunity in terms of the market, there was a gap in terms of competition. And I don't think I thought about gender or whether I thought it was a great opportunity. So that's why I got into it.
Hmm.
I also happened to have a co founder.
Hmm.
He was a biker.
Mm-hmm.
And we had worked together for 12 years.
Mhm.
So he had insights in the biking world. And
Okay.
so we'd worked together for many years. So
Mhm.
that told me that I will get the biker insights from him. But of course, the product and so on, there's enough things for
So
me to
you
do.
have an ally
So,
to
yes.
start off with.
Yes.
Hmm.
In terms of understanding insights,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
But I think, like any good marketing person, you put yourself in shoes. Once you start learning that, you start figuring out what really is the category, who the consumer is, what drives them. So it's a good marketing sort of a way to approach it.
Mhm.
But that was it. It was opportunity, and I don't think if I was male, I would have been asked this question.
Absolutely.
So that's just it.
Hmm.
Why not? Why wouldn't I do this? It was a big enough market size.
So it's not about who the product is addressing. It's just about the product per se,
Correct. Correct.
that opportunity exists. I am willing to leap at an opportunity right
Absolutely.
now. So therefore, I'll step into the breach.
So when Falguni started Nykaa,
Hmm.
she didn't use makeup. She uses it now because she's, it's her category.
Ah,
But she didn't use makeup before.
I remember that. Yes.
And when Mithun Sancheti started Carrot Lane, he didn't wear jewelry.
Hmm.
So, this is something that you don't have to be a consumer or you don't have to be owning that category to recognize that as a business opportunity and also have empathy for that consumer to be able to create something which is a serious solution.
Hmm.
That's why motorbike helmets.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah. So coming to the next part of it, which is the scooter helmet, and that is what is really interesting to me. is this pivot that happened from Tivra motorcycle helmets. So I know your company is called Tivra, but now you have got a brand called Twara.
Yeah.
And how come nobody has thought of it before? So, yeah.
So, I kept seeing this white space. Every time we would go into a helmet store, we would see the worst helmets, the cheapest helmets would be on the lowest shelf. Women's helmets would be sitting there,
Okay.
right? Because women's.
There is a category called women's helmets.
So there are a few women's helmets, let's put it that way, but there
Okay.
isn't a category called women's helmets because
Okay.
if you were to do a search today online,
Yeah.
any website, take Amazon,
Yeah.
when you'll do a search for women's helmets, a whole lot of helmets will come up and all of them will say helmets for men and women.
Okay.
And it's just the same men's helmet in a slightly
Smaller
smaller
size.
size, sometimes not even that. So they wobble madly.
So not at all safe.
Not seen, right? And even now, people ask me, why are you doing this? What's the size of the market? Because the number of women riders, firstly, bike riders, motorbike riders are very few. The scooter riders are barely 30 lakh scooter riders
In the country.
in the country. So the size of the market is so small.
30 lakh female women, right? Female
women riders,
scooter
right?
riders.
So it's
Huh.
not that large a
Okay.
market. If you really were to put a numbers to it and all that, it's not that large.
Hmm.
And I tell them that, look, women as riders might be 30 lakhs, but as pillion riders, they're 30 crores. Right? So if we are looking at even 1% of that 30 crores, it's a humongous market. So I think the market opportunity is massive. It just needs looking at it in a way that you're creating a new category, you're building a new habit of wearing helmets. And if you have helmets that they really want to wear, then you don't really have to worry about pushing them towards safety. So while we are best in terms of quality and we just decided that we were going to be the best helmets in the country. So while we are all of that in terms of its impacts and safety regulations and the certifications we have and so on, we are very high on aesthetics and we
I know that.
sell
Yes.
it like a fashion accessory.
Yes. So, and how has the idea flourished?
So we started about 8 months ago. I
Okay.
think there's tremendous traction and we're seeing growth. So every month it's better than the previous month. So that is a good sign. Still on the runway, still waiting to take off. But I think we're doing everything right, which will take us
So
to
it'll
that
take
point.
off. Yeah.
So it'll take off.
I mean, because, it's
Yeah.
like that story in Africa, nobody wears shoes. And
Yeah.
is that an opportunity or
Or a limitation
or a
for the market
limitation?
size.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
So it will. Yeah.
So, and you have signed Jemima.
We've signed Jemima Rodriguez. I think she's tremendous.
Yeah.
When we were signing her on, I was clear I didn't want a brand ambassador who came and who plugged your brand for X number of days and posts and so on and went off.
Okay.
I wanted somebody who had conviction and therefore would come on board with equity. So I had chased Dhoni for the longest time. He wore our helmets.
Okay.
9 times out of 10, when you see Dhoni riding, he was wearing a Tivra helmet.
Okay.
He loved those, and they were genuinely the lightest
Yes.
helmets in the country and
Yes.
so on. So he wore them. I chased him as an investor for the longest time in every possible way. I never got him. But I was clear that I wanted somebody who was an investor who was vested in growing the business and believed in the brand and not just a brand ambassador.
Right.
So when we were looking at Jemmy, I had everybody come and
I
advise.
love the
say,
way you call her Jemmy.
Oh, that's what she calls herself.
Okay.
so everybody advises is that, she's just started cricket.
Yes.
Right? When you get somebody on board with equity, then you don't know what her next season is going to be like. You don't know if she'll get dropped in the next World Cup.
True.
Is she going to be around or not?
True.
And people are not willing to bet on women's cricket team as yet. We were the first equity deal for the women's cricket team, any cricketer at all.
Oh, wow.
And
Yeah.
that came from a conviction that she's more than a cricketer. She connects and she seemed to be universally loved. And there is this sparkle around her, not just a spark, but she just sparkles.
She
There's
sparkles.
There's
Yes.
this
Yes.
joy that
Yes.
she emits.
Yes.
So we were willing to bet on
And
her.
she has that combination. She has that very approachable femininity, but at the same time, she has that chutzpah to say,
Correct.
I stand for something, Don't
Absolutely.
mess with me.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
So she has really, we make arm sleeves
Huh.
and we are making them now just to her size because she has really thin arms. So
Okay.
when and these are arm sleeves with stretch and so on. So it should fit most
Yeah,
people,
yeah.
but they just were hanging loose on her. So I asked her,
Okay.
with those arms, how are you hitting the sixes?
Huh.
But it's just technique and timing is what
Huh.
she said is what
Huh.
it takes.
Huh.
So I think there's a lot of intelligence to her. There's a
Huh.
lot of honesty to her.
Okay.
She's vulnerable, as she speaks. There's no artifice anytime you see her, and I think that is a value that I
Appealing.
cherish.
Yeah, yeah,
That
yeah. There's no
no
artifice.
facades, no
Yeah.
artifice.
Hmm.
You and I know we can't put it
We
on,
can't
right?
put it on. Yeah, we
We
can't
can't
put
do
it
the
on.
dainty
Yeah,
airs.
yeah,
They don't
yeah.
work for us.
They don't
Yeah,
work for
yeah,
us.
yeah.
Yes. So, you know, like you're making all these moves of an entrepreneur. You're talking branding, you're talking the market, you're talking pivot, which has happened. You're talking a brand ambassador, equity. And I'm just thinking to myself, and also not to be parochial, but you are the daughter of Gujus, you know. So, I mean, all the Gujus,
Guju
all
Banya
the
blood.
Guju
Right.
Banya blood. So, but my question is, and what I'm wondering is that in your mind, did you ever set out to say that I'll be an entrepreneur one day? Mera apna karobar hoga. I want to have my own
No.
business.
So I think we've talked about this before, but I think there is a privilege in being born female in India.
What is that?
The privilege is that the expectation that you will earn a living is not laid upon you when you are growing up, whereas
True.
boys grow up with a lot of pressure,
True.
right?
I accept that.
So the feminist in me doesn't like saying it, but that's the truth
That's
of
the
it.
truth, yes.
And
No, you get educated, you find a job. But
but फिर ठीक है,
ठीक
it's,
है, हाँ.
yeah, whether you are earning or not, you'll always be the second income,
Yes.
right? You don't have to have a
Yes,
pressure of
yes,
earning.
Yes.
So I didn't grow up with any dream. I had some role models. I liked, there were some women I looked up to who were amazing journalists or, were very senior in the IFS. There were people like that I looked up to.
Bold women going
Bold.
out there
And conquering the world and so on.
conquering the world.
But there was no conscious thought that I will do that. I think the thought came to me. There were two brands that I worked very closely with and mentored. One was Mithun's Carrot Lane from very early days. I was involved with their early branding.
This was when
endeavors.
you were with Tanishq.
No, post that.
Post
when I
that.
was with DY.
Okay.
But this was a personal, with DY it was an official thing, but I've stayed connected with him over the
Right.
years and so on. He's an investor in my venture as well.
Okay.
And the second was Nykaa. I was on the board for about 12 years. So saw the entire journey of Nykaa. Even before that, when it was an idea on an iPad, Falguni would come over. We were neighbors. So she would come over many evenings and she would be talking about why she's doing this and what she's doing and so on. So I think seeing that journey, I think this, the Banya Gujarati blood was rearing to say, okay, I need to do this on my own. And I don't think I thought about, I'm a late stage entrepreneur, I don't think I thought too much about, should I do this? There was no, but it was an idea that was growing. And there was one moment when we were on a holiday and we were on a bus with some very dear friends. And two dear friends, both men, who said, just do it. Don't just think about it, do it. They made me put a date by when I will quit working for someone else and start on my own. So I did. And I started, So that was it.
Were there discussions at home around this decision?
So I think a very supportive partner. My husband and I were classmates, as you know. So I think it was an equal relationship from the beginning. And so when this is something I wanted to do, he was very supportive. I said, we're going to dip into a retirement fund and I'm going to have to bootstrap it. So I need you to be sure that you are okay with it. And he said, I have faith in you and just do it.
Mm, mm,
So that was it. We didn't
mm.
come from enormous wealth that we could pull out monies like this and so
Yeah.
on.
So it was a
But
big decision.
it was a big decision.
Hmm.
But I don't think he blinked for a moment.
Hmm.
And I was sure I wanted to do this.
Right.
I was sure I wanted to do this because, after IIM, I worked, and then when kids were born, I quit working
Yeah.
because I didn't know how to manage the working mother situation.
Hmm.
We didn't have family support around us where we were staying and so on. Then we went to the US where it was even harder. So I was the second income who did bit projects here and there, but never a serious career. So I think, like many women, who step off the treadmill, getting back on is very, very hard.
Very hard.
And there are no doors that open to you.
Mm.
I had the privilege of, the network from my institute and so on that allowed me in small ways to get back up. So, but even that getting back up never really rewarded me for all the years I had lost. And not just rewarded me, but you were always the lowest paid. You were always the where you should be. You never were
You're always reminded
that 17 years you didn't work.
Yeah.
So therefore, I mean, you didn't.
Yeah.
It's not that I didn't work, but I didn't have a career
Right.
kind of work. So
nobody's letting
you forget that. Therefore, when I restarted, I think this idea that I'll have to reward myself, not just in terms of monies. I think I'll have to reward myself in terms of respect, and I'm going to have to build it myself. I think that has been the driver. If I really think about it, it's probably very subliminal, but that has been the driver, I think. So,
that you need to come into your own. This is what you have worked towards. This is what all your life, your thoughts have been towards this trajectory, that you need to
Perhaps.
come into your own.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I want you to tell us about that Stephen story of smoking. I
gosh.
love that. I love that story, and it is so you also in some ways.
So I think at that time Stephen started taking women only.
This is St. Stephen's in Delhi.
St. Stephen's in Delhi.
Yeah.
And they started taking women again from way back from the 40s and 50s. They
Yeah.
had stopped. And then they started taking women again in 75.
Yes.
I joined about 8 or 9 years after that. And when I did join, at that time, there was a sign. So we were still 1/3 population of the college. So we were still minority. About 30% were
I
women.
call you
So
and me the minority participants
generation.
in the minority
Correct.
report.
We were
This-
eight girls in IIM in our batch of
Similar
180.
ratio, similar
So
ratio.
similarly
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
right? There was a sign that said there, saying that men, so they had this men and women, right?
Yes.
So it said men can smoke in the corridors and in the lawns in front and so on. They will not smoke in classrooms. And ladies can smoke in the ladies' common room. Right? So that was a red flag. That's so.
If you ever wanted to show a red flag,
Yeah.
okay.
I mean, if you've not said anything, we would have just
we-
left it alone, right? You don't have to write that. So the moment you write that, there was a whole bunch of us who went and lit up. So yeah. those
and
are
you
red flags.
had that notice not been there, you might never have
Never
taken up
never,
smoking.
Never,
Yeah,
never.
But just,
So,
show a finger
yeah.
to the college, show a finger to society.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
reaction.
And I quit it also happily. It's not that I was a smoker.
Sure.
But I think it was this that really prompted it.
Trigger.
But I think that it's essential for women to break some rules because still you don't break rules in life that have been laid down for you. You don't have the courage to do things on your own that you would otherwise not have done. So when I started working in the US, I took on a marketing role for North America. I would travel to another city that I'd never been to before. There was no GPS, there was only MapQuest. I would go and rent a car. I would drive it around, figure out parking, figure out whatever, and so on. Never thought I couldn't do it. It would be scary.
Yeah.
It was never, it always felt a little scary. but you would do it.
Hmm.
I think the ability to do things that are not easy
Hmm.
comes because you haven't followed rules always.
And you haven't given yourself a choice also.
But that comes from that.
That
If you
comes
have
from that.
always been curtailed,
Hmm.
and I must give my mother a lot of credit for this, because
Okay.
when we moved from Delhi to Baroda,
Hmm.
at that time there were only two English medium decent schools. One
Hmm.
was called Convent of Jesus and Mary, and the other was called Rosary High School for Boys.
Hmm.
Rosary High School for Boys had just started taking girls in.
Okay.
So in class 3, when I joined Rosary High School for Boys, we were 3 girls or 4 girls in a class of 60 boys.
Hmm.
So it started then.
Hmm.
And my mother always said that the rules for you and Amlan, your brother, are the same. So your curfews are the same, all the rules are the same.
Hmm.
And I think that paved the way for so much for me.
Yeah.
So in terms of just what I thought.
Just being fearless and just never thinking that you are not supposed to do something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
I think it's that.
Yeah.
I don't think it's fearless.
Yeah.
I can be very fearful,
Yeah.
but doing it regardless
Yeah.
of being fearful, I think is what I think keeps
It's
me
just
going.
a way of life.
Yeah. It's not that, when I'm renting a car in LA at 1 a.m., my flight is landed at 1 a.m. and I'm driving to some unknown place, I'm not afraid.
Yeah.
I am. But you
But
do
then
it
what do you
regardless.
do about it?
You just
You
do
just-
it regardless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just do it.
Yeah. You don't not do what you
Yeah.
wanted to do. You
Yeah.
don't not travel. You
Yeah.
don't not go without an escort.
Yeah.
None of that.
None of
Right.
that. They don't even process it like that. It's just hardwired in them to say,
You'll be taken care of.
yes.
Yeah.
Right?
I think
So-
especially a particular socioeconomic
Yes.
group,
Yes.
you're taken care of
Yeah,
always.
you're taken care of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like being taken care of. It's very nice. It's very nice to have a placard and somebody's waiting for you and so on. But I think I equally like, just doing things on my own. So
I mean, like or not like, it's a way of life.
yeah,
Like you took a decision to start your own venture when there was absolutely nothing on the ground preceding that venture, which is so it is very groundbreaking in that sense. But you just took that decision and went ahead. And
Yeah.
you've had lots of falls after that.
yeah, lots of falls. When you become an entrepreneur, you have to embrace the idea entirely that no one should ever tell you that it's going to be easy. It's a very fun journey. Do not expect it to be easy at all. I don't think there's any bottom line there. But I think also you have to embrace the idea that it will be very, very disastrous at times. The heavens will fall, the earth will, open up below your feet, the carpet will be yanked. Every possible metaphor of how things can go wrong will happen. There is only one thing to do, which is to keep putting one foot in front of the other. And what I'm learning from other entrepreneurs is that it's a tunnel. And you
Okay.
have to go through it to find that light at the end of it. Some tunnels are short, some tunnels are long, but you have to stay the course. And you can pivot, but you keep moving. And that, I think I internalized very early on when I started this path.
Did you sort of anticipate how hard it would be?
No.
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 So,
But if I had known how hard it would be, I don't think I would have done it differently at all.
oh,
I
okay.
think I might have learned from some of the mistakes, and I would have maybe not done some of those. But I think I'm having a ball, Sangeeta.
Okay.
Every day, I in the worst of times, there was not a single day where I got up saying, "Oh God, I don't want to go to work." I don't think that's happened to me.
Okay.
And I think when I see
Even
some
in
of,
your worst days,
even
you
in my
were.
worst days, and when I see some of my friends saying, "Okay, we are going off for a holiday here, and I have a launch coming up," I'm okay skipping that holiday. It's not.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
This
It
is your
doesn't
life
matter.
now.
Yeah,
This is where your life is.
This is what I enjoy doing. It's my indulgence.
Mm.
My kids have gone. My husband he doesn't need mollycoddling.
Hmm.
I don't have anything else. I think at this time I have more time to myself than I've ever had.
Hmm.
And so I tell a lot of young women,
Hmm.
saying that life is long, and there'll be enough times in your life.
Hmm.
Do not feel stuck at any time,
Okay.
and just move, just do it.
Hmm.
I urge so many friends who haven't worked before, saying, come back
Hmm.
and find whatever job you can.
Hmm.
Whatever you can, you will excel at it,
Hmm.
and you will move very fast.
Hmm.
So I think it's important for women coming back to not have egos. You will always have classmates who are at very, very different positions,
Yeah.
at very different salaries, and so
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
I think just come back
Hmm.
and start making a difference
Stay the course.
and stay the course, and you will rise much faster than others because you know so much more. It's not that you've been stupid because you got pregnant and you managed your home with.
Yeah.
I think women remain very sharp.
Yeah.
They have time to read a lot, learn a lot.
Mm.
I think
Provided they do it.
provided they do it. Yeah.
Mm.
I think it's that nobody enables them and nobody tells them that you need to do it. And
Okay.
therefore, I would hope that your podcast gets to many of them
Mm.
and enables and, thinks about it. That is one of the reasons why you started this, right?
That's one of the reasons why we are sitting here, because you have, I mean, when I see your journey, high, low, high, low, high, low, 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 and now again high.
Yeah.
How many highs, how many lows before you can say to yourself, this is it, I've made it.
Yeah.
And to overcome all those troughs and crests and troughs and crests and still come out smiling, it takes a lot. I don't know if it's in everybody to be able to,
It's in everybody.
and not throw in the towel and at some point say, "Arey, theek hai, hoga." I mean, I know women from IIM Ahmedabad who have just thrown in the towel saying that now we can't go through with this journey. But you have.
It doesn't matter what it is.
Hmm.
I think self-actualization is important for women.
Mhm.
And there comes a time when, you don't want your identity defined by others as
True.
as in terms of a relationship, as a wife or the mother or the,
Mm.
even the good friend or
Mrs. So and so.
yeah, or Mrs. So and so, right? So I think it's important for women to reclaim themselves in whatever they do, and it might be gardening.
And to stake a claim to that activity.
And stake a claim to it. Make it a serious passion, where you count for something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where in your eyes you count for something.
Correct.
And I went through this. We were in the US. I hadn't worked for many years. In America, nobody had heard of the institutes or colleges I'd gone to. So you're a nobody.
So that must have been very humbling. That from here
So-
we went as these
No,
kings,
I
and
was
over there
humbled.
nobody knows.
I was humbled long before that because I hadn't worked for some years. So the moment there's a break in a woman's career, she's
Yeah.
she's useless.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that happens to women very easily.
Very
right?
easily.
So
Yeah.
so that had happened,
Mm.
but there was nothing. There was no opportunity at all. I remember having no confidence at all.
Mm.
And I used to tell Samresh, my husband, that I have nothing to put on my CV. What am I going to put? All these gaps that are there, what will I put? There's nothing to put.
Mm.
And I eventually called a friend who had a business there. He was a business owner. And I said, Ashok, I'm climbing a new wall every day. Just help me. I need to do something. I'll do anything. I was really hungry for some adult company. I was otherwise, going nuts climbing a new wall every day. So I started off with a very low level work where I was managing customer service, I was managing orders, liaising with the warehouse. But I was so grateful to be able to get out and start doing something. And I think it doesn't take you long at all. It takes you maybe less than a few weeks
Okay.
for confidence to come back.
Come back.
Because you've not changed.
You've
right?
not changed.
Only the way the world has been behaving with you has changed.
Ah.
So when you are back,
Mm.
you can find yourself very easily. So I tell all the women who haven't worked, somebody says, I haven't done something for so many years,
Yeah.
now I'm
Yeah.
this age, what am I going
Yeah.
to do?
Yeah.
Just do it. And in a few weeks, in a few months, you will know what you're made of. And you are way more than, the person that everybody depends on saying, Arey, घर में नींबू नहीं है, घर में ये खाना नहीं है. There is a lot more to you than that. And so yeah.
And why do you
Yeah.
allow your identity to be subsumed by
Yeah.
your circumstances?
See, and I don't blame the circumstances and people around also. I
Yeah.
think we also become party to it. But yeah, I did it on my own time. And now I think अपना time आएगा.
Apna
तो-
time aayega. Aa
So
gaya.
that's where it
Apna
is.
time aa gaya.
That's where it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, as entrepreneur, are you a member of some entrepreneur community, or where do you get that resilience from? Where do you get that thing? Keep going, Alpana, keep going.
You have to find. I have found it. I've had to dig deep inside and find it within. I'm an oddball because most entrepreneur communities are very young entrepreneurs, all
Right.
startups.
Right.
I'm way older.
Hmm.
Okay,
Hmm.
most of them are men.
Hmm.
There is this certain bro club that happens with young startup founders who are these men's founders. I don't fit into that as well. And very often when I go to any of these angel investor meets or something, I go as a brand or marketing guru. I'm the one who's giving them lectures. So I'm actually, I'd equally like to learn, but I don't think that forum exists for someone like me. Try to find and learn and read whatever I come from. I follow a meditation practice the same as you. And one tenet of that is really that you embrace pain and joy equally, right? That idea. So that is something that keeps me going. But once in a while, it's a word from a friend. It's a little bit of, something that you get, a pat on the back. It gets you going. So this happens not just as an entrepreneur. The moment you become a leader, the moment you become the head of an organization, you have to get used to being uncomfortable.
Yes,
I
agree.
You have to become
Yes.
comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yes.
Because if you are comfortable, you're obviously doing things that have been done before.
Right.
If you're going to tread on a new path, you will definitely be uncomfortable. But as a leader, that's what you are supposed to be doing. If you're,
I read Seth Godin's blog, and this is one of the things that he keeps
he's-
talking about.
Okay.
That,
Okay.
you have to, if you're uncomfortable, that means you're doing something
Right.
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 Yeah.
So when my previous role before that, I was heading this organization.
Correct.
So this was something I had embraced. So I'm okay being uncomfortable.
Okay.
And that's something I'm okay with that. So I think if you're okay with that, then entrepreneurship is not that hard because that's part of it. You have to be uncomfortable.
Yes. So, your team, and I know your co-founders also, are much younger. Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you bridge that gap of perspective, outlook, today's
So-
world?
I don't define myself by gender or age. I don't define others by gender or age. Very early on, when I was running the branding firm, we were part of a global pitch for the BRICS Bank in Shanghai. And we were one of 21 agencies invited from all over the world. We were one of 2 from India. The rest were from different parts of the world. We had been working on that pitch for, I think, about 3 or 4 weeks or longer even. And we had a young intern who had joined us at that time. And he was sitting in on that last run I was doing a week before I was supposed to travel to Shanghai. And while he was sitting there, he came up with an idea which was completely different from all the work we had done for the last 4 weeks.
Okay.
But it was brilliant.
Okay.
It was simple, it was brilliant, it was highly impactful, And I said, oh my God, this is what we should be doing. And John, I remember, was 21 maybe.
Oh, wow. Okay,
He,
just a kid.
just a kid,
Bacha.
right? Bacha. And here were all our senior people. We were a team of, 10, 15 working on this, laboring over this for so long. We just switched, and within 3, 4, 5 days, we put this whole thing together. It was absolutely brilliant. Went with it and won the pitch. And it was this idea that won the pitch. So I think the other thing I learned was that ideas don't have hierarchy, right? They don't have age. And so, as an organization, we should look at one, being flat, two, rewarding people basis capability rather than how many years of experience you have, what your last job was, and so on. So that's something I live by. That if somebody is there, I depending on our ability to pay,
Sure.
we pay them
Sure.
on the basis of their capability, not just on, if they came at a much lower salary, most organizations will tend to penalize you. And I have been through that. So I have so much empathy for people who are capable
Yeah.
and, should be rewarded on that basis. So that's how I live with that.
I mean, all the best I think you've hit upon the right idea and finally hit upon something that is bringing a smile to your face after all those years of,
No, I would always get excited even that time. I don't think that went away. The excitement was always there. I think it's, Sangeeta, it's going every day, and every day is an adventure because you don't know what's going to happen
what
tomorrow.
lies ahead.
And it could be a day full of miracles, or it could be a day which didn't work out. That's okay. I think
But you come home and went when it doesn't
No.
work out?
No. I don't think that helps. I think when you went, you make it somebody else's problem.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Right? And you say that it's no longer mine. So I think you have to deal with it in a way that it doesn't completely kill you. But I think the more you externalize it, the less you actually find a solution quickly enough.
Right.
Because you wallow in the pain. And wallowing is a luxury that entrepreneurs should not have.
Should not have.
Right? It takes time. It takes a lot of energy. I don't think I think you should let go of
Just
that.
move on.
Yeah, just move on. It's the next day and figure out the next thing. So it's always that. If this is not working, what next? If this was a mistake, what next? That's the only way to do it.
And you come home and there is somebody waiting for you and saying, Madam, aaj khana kya banaye? Does that?
Every day. Every day. Not come home. I could be in whichever meeting in the world, right? In wherever I am. But that 4 o'clock call, which I'm sure you get
Goodness gracious.
which is ki aaj khana kya banaye. So those things never leave. But that's okay.
Do they bother you?
No longer.
Okay.
No longer. Now I'm passive aggressive. Now I simply don't pick up the phone. So they have to figure it out, right? So yeah.
So some things never go away.
Some things will never go away. But hopefully, not our generation, but hopefully the generation after, hopefully my daughter's generation will have it different.
Yeah.
And
I think they do have it different.
They do have it different.
Yeah.
And so will another generation.
Yeah.
I had a colleague in Tanishq. And he had just gotten married. And I think on the day he came back from his wedding leave, I told him, go back early today and put on the pressure cooker before your wife comes home. They were both working. And you will earn brownie points for life. So he sent me a message a few months ago saying, thank you so much for that advice. I still am earning those brownie points. So I think this generation is doing it differently.
I don't know if it's just luck or I think, the fact of men just stepping up for their partners is becomes so critical to, I mean, just imagine if you were to say, I want to start a business tomorrow and your partner said, are you out of your mind? What do you know about starting a business? Right? Then the story would go a different way.
To me, what is of interest is how do men choose their partners? See,
How do
for
men choose
men
their
choose their partner.
partners? Okay.
So it's very easy to choose someone who is younger, maybe slightly lesser educated, maybe earns a little less, and create that imbalance from the beginning. And when I see young men who choose partners who are equal to them, sometimes even older than them,
Hmm.
I have a tremendous amount of respect because that I think is masculinity.
Hmm.
It's not, if you've already got, the benefit of seniority or more money or whatever,
Hmm.
how does it matter?
How does it matter?
Yeah.
Hmm.
It doesn't add up to anything.
Hmm.
And even if they married somebody who was lesser educated or earned less, how do you treat
Yeah.
her?
Yeah.
And what is your relationship? What kind of decisions are taken in the house? Who takes what kind of decisions? I think it's that.
And I think
That's
it
it.
percolates down to the children.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
There is this
Absolutely.
subliminal messaging that comes down to the children to
Right.
say that, this is okay.
This is okay.
This way of
Yeah.
life is okay.
Yeah.
And we know nothing else.
I know.
So,
When Kanan was very young, I think she was at her friend's house and she asked the friend's mother, saying, Auntie, can we do this in the evening? And her friend said, we'll have to ask my dad. He's the decider.
no, my
Okay.
God. Huh.
And it was always a joke in their house that and so Kanan said, oh, but in my house, my mommy decides everything.
Ah.
Right? So she didn't ever see her mother having to go and ask, saying, can the kids do
Right,
this kind
right.
of thing.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a joke, and it's always seen as a little
a
snide
learn-
comment on
it's
the
a
husband
learning,
that
yeah.
the wife is taking some decisions that he's not stepping into.
Yeah.
He doesn't care,
Yeah.
but it's still a bit of a joke on the other side.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's sad.
that's
But hopefully things are going to change. So, just to change of mood,
yes.
now I want to go back to the Alpana who knows Alpana best and ask you. So, you're a branding expert, right? Marketing and branding expert. So, I have a question for you,
Okay.
which is that if you were a flower, what flower would you be?
Oh my God. Okay. A magnolia.
A magnolia?
A magnolia is so it's more about the tree.
Okay.
The tree is one of the oldest. I think it's over 1,000,000 years old. And the fascinating thing about the tree is that its pollination happened before there were bees and birds. The way in which that tree would pollinate was very different. So there's a lot of age on its side, and it's a resplendent, very large flower that occupies so much space, and it's the first to bloom in spring.
Okay.
It heralds spring in North America and I guess other parts of the world. So before you've seen other flowers, this one is out there. So I think that is very nice. कि पहले जाके line में खड़े हो जाओ. So that works for me.
So you bloom first
We move first. Of course,
and you show the path.
magnolia in Delhi is called Mongolia.
Mongolia.
So-
Everywhere it's called Mongolia.
Yeah.
Okay. So now since you've answered my question, I have a little gift for you.
Oh,
So
This
this is
looks like an
a
interesting gift.
Yes. Hi Apu. We have been fellow travelers for many years, and for me, you are the perfect mix of exuberance, endurance, and experience.
wow.
They say that everyone develops over time, but in your case, the change is mind blowing. I'm always amazed at how many interests you manage to nurture simultaneously: reading, travel, films, your spiritual journey, Vipassana, and even party planning. Honestly, when I first met you at IIM, I had no idea that I was going to be a friend of someone with such varied interests. And boy, am I glad we became friends. What would I and Prime Securities have done without you? Remember those morning walks on Marine Drive during Prime's difficult days? You were my energy bank then, lending support, giving ideas, even some very outlandish ones. Redrawing our logo to free up trapped energy, as you put it. Your out of the box thinking has helped so many brands. And now I'm so happy that you have become your own engine. The women's helmet was an idea hiding in plain sight, and I honestly can't think of a single other person who would have picked up this mantle. Twara and Tivra just seem so right for the Alpana that I know. Passionate, dedicated, powered by her own conviction. Appu, तेरा टाइम आएगा नहीं, अब तेरा टाइम आ गया है. Love you.
This is Jakes. Oh, how
Yes.
sweet is that? Thank you,
And-
Jakes. Thank you.
And that's for you.
Oh, okay.
And thank you
Yeah.
for coming on this show and
Thank you, Sangeeta.
having so much fun.
And I'm glad you're doing this because I'm sure it's going to be so much fun for so many people out there, not just
Yeah.
women, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully.
So,
Thank you so
yeah.
much.